A boy wants to be a boss, but became a skeleton. Southern Hall's Hallmaster Jia Sui said, "Number 3, can what you made even be considered a dish?" Lu Li responded confidently, "Of course, it's a dish, and not just any dish. It's a delectable one. I call it scrambled eggs with tomatoes." Contestant number 1 burst into laughter. "Scrambled eggs with tomatoes? Ha ha ha, I've really overestimated you. Even without meat, you can't just toss some tomatoes and eggs together to prank the Hallmaster. Do you even understand the basic qualities of those 2 ingredients?" Lu Li thought to himself, "This combination hasn't appeared in the monster world yet. I might have a chance." Contestant number 1 continued, "Hallmaster, you should eliminate and execute this kind of person immediately." Jia Sui silenced him. "Number 1, shut your mouth. Every chef who presents me with a dish earns the right to have me taste their food. In exchange, I decide whether they live or die. That is the cost." With that, she took a piece of Lu Li's dish and tasted it. She froze for a moment, her expression shifting to one of intrigue. "So this is how it tastes? Interesting." She smiled. After a pause, Jia Sui announced, "I have made my decision between the 2 of you. The winner is," contestant number 1 thought to himself, "something's fishy about that interesting earlier." And she ate more than a few bites of number 3's dish. Am I at a disadvantage now? Suddenly, contestant number 1 pointed at Lu Li. "Hallmaster, I object to his dish. He did not use the assigned ingredient. He's disqualified." The Hallmaster did not respond to his outburst. Contestant number 1 pressed on, "Hallmaster, please announce the results." In an instant, contestant number 1 was sliced into pieces. Jia Sui spoke coldly. "Number 1, I said shut your mouth. As for the results, the winner is contestant number 1. Unfortunately, the contestant is already dead. Thus, I declare number 2 the winner." Lu Li stepped forward, bowing deeply. "This lowly one is Lu Li." He thought to himself her hand was about to point to me earlier. The scrambled eggs with tomatoes really won. Still, the Hallmaster's judgment seemed rather arbitrary. Jia Sui addressed him. "I am Southern Hall's Hallmaster Jia Sui. Speak, what prize do you desire? Do you wish to join the Tao Tai Tower, obtain a license to open a restaurant on South Street, or become my disciple?" Lu Li knelt and said, "This lowly one wishes to ask the Hallmaster for the secret technique to strengthen one's physique." Jia Sui nodded. "Physique strengthening, that is not an issue, but tell me, what rank are you?" "Rank?" Lu Li asked, confused. "I do not know." "No problem," Jia Sui replied. "Change your clothes and follow me." Moments later, Jia Sui led Lu Li through a portal in the sky. They landed before a tall structure. "This is the rank tower," Jia Sui explained. "The tower is divided into 6 floors, corresponding to poor, warrior, poisoner, evil spirit, demon, and ferocious ranks. Once you enter, you will naturally discover your rank." Lu Li bowed deeply. "Thank you, Hallmaster." To himself, he thought, rank tower. I wonder what my rank will be. Inside the rank tower, 1st floor, poor rank. As Lu Li entered, a small rabbit with glowing red eyes turned to him, mid-meal. "Who dares approach? State your name," it demanded. Without hesitation, Lu Li moved swiftly, cutting off the rabbit's head. "No need," he muttered. Meanwhile, outside the tower, a hulking monster spoke to Jia Sui. "Owner, may I ask why you lured the boy Lu Li into this rabbit cage tower? Didn't he win the competition?" Jia Sui replied, "Because he carries the heavy scent of Wu Yue on him." The monster's eyes widened. "So, he's a spy from Dongyu Hall?" "It's highly likely," Jia Sui said. "I heard Wu Yue took a little skeleton as her disciple during the last Windy Cloud Pavilion competition." The monster asked nervously, "Then why not kill him outright? Why go to the trouble of trapping him here?" Before it could continue, Jia Sui struck the monster with a powerful punch. The creature howled in pain. "Owner, mercy!" Jia Sui's voice turned cold. "I only agreed to answer one question. You had no right to ask a second." She turned away, muttering to herself, "Why trap him? Does that even need explaining?" 2nd floor, warrior rank. On the 2nd floor, a massive rabbit wielding a giant mallet appeared, panting heavily. Huff, huff. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Li rushed behind it and landed a decisive blow. Rank tower, 3rd floor poisoner Lu Li, accompanied by his shadow clone, leapt toward a scholar rabbit. The rabbit tilted its head and asked, "Left side, right side, above, below?" Without hesitation, Lu Li unleashed his skill, rending burst blade, striking twice in quick succession. Rank tower, 4th floor evil spirit. On the next floor, Lu Li faced a peculiar foe, a rabbit wielding a staff. Staff in hand, afraid of no wild beast, the rabbit declared. I am the dancing staff rabbit. Please take care of me. Likewise, Lu Li replied curtly. Without further delay, the dancing staff rabbit lunged at him. Lu Li managed to block the initial strike, and a fierce exchange of attacks followed. Their movements were blindingly fast, evil spirit rank. This opponent is roughly on Feng Ye's level, Lu Li thought to himself. This fight is winnable. Summoning his skill, Hidden Dragon in the Abyss, a massive dragon materialized and surged forward. The dancing staff rabbit closed its eyes and was hurled against the wall by the force. Slumped on the ground, the rabbit coughed and said weakly, cough. Soft. Go forth. The one above is your true opponent. Lu Li walked past him, nodding. Good fight. Rank Tower, 5th floor demon. The next floor was shrouded in shadows. Lu Li stepped forward, murmuring, Demon rank. Before him stood a menacing rabbit. I am the Shadow Art Rabbit, it said. I wield 5 swords, and each will strike only once. Survive all 5, and victory will be yours. Lu Li frowned. I feel restricted already. There's no way to avoid his attacks. Determined, he said, Come at me. First sword, Shadow Art Rabbit announced. The rabbit attacked with rapid, unpredictable slashes. Lu Li tried to block but was struck in the arm. Jumping back, he asked, What sword is that? The first sword's name is Childish, the rabbit replied. As innocent as a child, yet mischievous and unpredictable. Bring on the second sword, Lu Li demanded. As you wish, the rabbit replied, preparing its next strike. Lu Li blocked the attack but was flung backward. Rending burst blade. Lu Li counterattacked. Holding firm, the Shadow Art Rabbit smirked. The second sword is youthful, full of energy and vitality, like a teenager's boundless vigor. Lu Li clenched his fists. Only 2 swords in, and the third will already push me to my limit. I'll need to counterattack defensively. He activated Shadow Clone and Hidden Dragon in the Abyss, twice over. The battlefield surged with energy. Good move, Shadow Art Rabbit said, unsheathing its third sword. The third sword is prime years. It represents the peak of one's strength, a man at his prime. With one swift motion, the Shadow Art Rabbit obliterated both of Lu Li's summoned dragons, leaving him burned and gasping. This is the third sword. Do you still wish to face the fourth? The rabbit asked. Coughing and trembling, Lu Li's aura shifted. Crimson energy surrounded him, his eyes glowing red. Do it. He activated Asura mode, his voice resonating with power. Shadow Art Rabbit paused. Oh, your aura has changed. You're no ordinary challenger. The two clashed with overwhelming force, shattering the floor beneath them. When the dust settled, the rabbit sheathed its sword, leaving Lu Li bleeding profusely. The fourth sword is dusk, it said. Like an elder who has mastered all facets of life, its simplicity hides lethal precision. With one strike, it ends battles. You are remarkable for surviving this far. In my life, thousands fell to just these 4 swords. Lu Li knelt on the ground, coughing violently. The Shadow Art Rabbit turned, only to pause in shock. What? You're still standing? Lu Li smirked. As I thought. My body was strengthened after bathing in Wu Yue's evolutionary blood pool. He stood tall, pointing his blade at the rabbit. Bring out your final sword. Good. You've earned the right to face my 5th sword, the rabbit declared, unsheathing its weapon. This sword has no blade, it said. Its name is Life's End. It represents the ultimate realization. A blade can only cut the physical. My 5th sword targets the soul. As the rabbit charged, their powers intensified. Shadow Art Rabbit unleashed a flurry of slashes. Lu Li froze as his mind was drawn into another realm. Scales of Life's End under a starlit sky. Lu Li and the Shadow Art Rabbit sat on a celestial scale. The rabbit spoke, its voice calm yet heavy. Does life have meaning? No, life is meaningless. Sweetness is fleeting. Why endure bitterness for such brief moments of joy? The scales tipped under the weight of the argument. Lu Li thought, this is a mental attack, a debate of philosophies. He steadied himself and spoke, bitterness coexists with sweetness. One cannot exist without the other. As he spoke, the scales began to balance. Shadow Art Rabbit nodded slowly. Balance is the essence of existence. If so, shouldn't one's pain be equal to their happiness? Lu Li replied, perhaps. But isn't it precisely the fleeting nature of joy that gives life its meaning? The scales tipped in his favor. The debate on life and meaning. Shadow Art Rabbit gazed solemnly at Lu Li and said, human life is so short. So many live in a daze, endlessly repeating the same routine. They are trapped in the cage that is the pursuit of happiness, only to return to dust. Lu Li nodded thoughtfully. Life is indeed short and unfair, but so long as it exists, it will have meaning. The rabbit scoffed. What meaning is there? Life is but a single drop in the ocean, a grain of sand in the desert. A single drop can create huge waves, Luli replied, and a rolling grain of sand can cause a sandstorm. Their opposing philosophies hung heavy in the air as they stared at each other, life and death interwoven in their silent exchange. Suddenly, a vision unfolded before them, a snow-covered forest. From beneath the frost, a lone plant pushed through. More plants followed, sprouting and growing despite the harsh conditions. Just as the vision blossomed into full clarity, it shattered. Shadow-Art Rabbit exhaled deeply. This is my loss. I believe that the century I spent pondering life and death had uncovered the truth, but it was only a veil. Luli replied, there are 10,000 different answers to the meaning of life in 10,000 minds. It cannot be encapsulated by any one perspective, just as there are no two identical leaves in this world. The rabbit chuckled softly and sat down. No two leaves are the same. How intriguing. Go forth. Boss Rabbit awaits you. Luli nodded. Appreciated. As he walked away, the Shadow-Art Rabbit called out, we will meet again, very soon. Rank Tower, 6th floor. Ferocious Luli ascended to the 6th floor, his resolve unshaken. My current strength is inferior to a ferocious rank, he muttered to himself. I want to see how big the gap is. Before him stood an old rabbit, seemingly harmless, with a weathered board game in its hands. Young chap, the rabbit said, do you know how to play 5 in a row? Ignoring the question, Luli charged forward, activating Asura mode and slashing with ferocity. To his shock, the blade passed straight through the old rabbit. An illusion, he murmured. Before he could react, the old rabbit grabbed his arm with surprising speed. Ayo, it said, examining him with amusement. You've got quite a fine body, young fellow. Luli recoiled in confusion. Touched. He touched me. Without hesitation, Luli unleashed a flurry of slashes, increasing his speed with every strike. Faster, even faster, he shouted. The old rabbit chuckled. Not fast enough. With a flick of its hand, it sent the game piece flying at Luli's forehead. The piece struck with a sharp thud, causing smoke to rise from the impact. Staggering backward, Luli muttered, what the? Before collapsing to the ground. The 1st floor again? When Luli opened his eyes, he was disoriented. Sitting up, he blinked and gasped in shock. The rabbit from the 1st floor loomed over him, wielding a carrot like a weapon. You're, Luli began. Before he could finish, the rabbit hurried back to its pile of carrots. Damn it, you woke up too quickly, it grumbled. Still dazed, Luli asked, why am I back on the 1st floor? Even if I didn't pass the 6th floor, I should have completed the ranking exercise. I should be free to leave. The rabbit smirked. What an idiot. This isn't the ranking tower. You've been played by the hall master. This is the rabbit cage tower. A prison for death row inmates. You'll never leave. Not in this lifetime. The weight of the revelation hit Luli like a falling mountain. What did you say? He exclaimed in shock. Meanwhile, in Dongyue Hall, in the main hall of Dongyue Hall, the Lady of East Moon Hall, Blood Moon City's renowned Wu Yue, stretched lazily amidst a pile of paperwork. Why the receipts stacking up so high? She murmured, rubbing her temples. I wonder how my disciple, Zhang Yu, is progressing. I mustn't dote on him too much. The road must be walked by oneself. Pushing aside the papers, she reclined in her seat. I'll take a little nap, she muttered, closing her eyes as the world outside moved on. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.